So welcome to my video on the best games of 2023 so far for the first half of the year that I personally have played. And I cannot believe the year so far. We've had so many incredibly huge games. I will ask you guys, so far for 2023, what are some of your favorite games that you have played? Some underdogs. Mention some underdogs because I'm only talking about some games that I personally can play. I'm only one person. I'm not a machine, that is for sure. So I can only play a certain amount. Let me know down below some other games that I don't mention here today and some personal favorites of yours. So let's start at the beginning of the year where a little game was coming out. And I was looking forward to it. But I didn't know how obsessed with it I would become. And that is Fire Emblem Engage. Yes, that came out and I started playing it and I'm like, okay, I'll play a little bit of it, on all that. And then all of a sudden I'd finished the game. I got all the way through it. I did so many countless battles. I got so sucked into it. And the reason why is it's so addicting. And I just want to say that I really like the strategy of it. I really like the character designs. I know a lot of people were on the fence on that one, but I personally really love them. I also want to say that I love the animation in combat. That's what kept me there too. I mean, as good as the storyline is and the strategy of it all, I really like the animation in combat. I thought that was so awesome. Whenever you send your troops in and you see your guys on horses smashing other guys, I was like, this looks really good. And I went in with low expectations, and I gotta say, it's up there as one of my favorite Fire Emblem games of all time. I really had that good of a time with it. I really did. And that was just to start the year. That was just like, here we begin. And then we really got into it. Couple of big remakes, and I mentioned them in a 10 out of 10 remake remaster episode I just put up. But I gotta say, Dead Space, the remake. That game floored me. And I like the original game, and then all of a sudden I start playing the remake and I'm like, look how good this looks. Look how amazing this looks. And I forgot, there's many late nights, I forgot how terrifying it is. And I was wandering around and I'm like, oh man, it scared me originally and it really scares me now, especially with the updated graphics and all that stuff. And I mean, a high recommendation if you've never played Dead Space. It's one of those things, it's kind of like Alien, Event Horizon, thrown in there. There's always been a classic to me. Has it been a classic to you? Let me know if you like the Dead Space remake. That's one highly recommend. And another remake that I highly recommend, a remastered version, is Metroid Prime. They just kind of announced it in a Nintendo Direct and they're like, oh, by the way, it's out, tomorrow. And you're like, what? So I remember I downloaded it, and again, I'm not like dissing on the Switch because I love the Switch, but I thought, what can they really do on the Switch, really, with this game? Because in my mind, I always think the original Metroid Prime is such a beautiful game, and we're talking from like 20 years ago on the GameCube. So I'm like, okay, what can they really do? I'm not joking. It was almost like a different game for me. And it had been a long time since I played the original, and I started playing it again, and I was completely taken in by it. And I've given this game a 10 out of 10. I really believe Metroid Prime is a 10 out of 10 game, especially the remastered version. It's stunning. I love the exploration of it. I love the back and forth, and the game does not hold your hand. And I know a lot of people are very frustrated with the game at times because sometimes you don't know where you're going, but that's the adventure of it. That is the game. That's what it's all about. And for me, it was strange going from the original Metroids to this first-person Metroid when it first came out, and so I fell in love with the remastered version. And I said it when I was originally playing it. I had the biggest smile on my face playing that game. I was just like, oh, it's so nice to revisit this game, and a really beautiful-looking game. They really did it justice on the Switch. So high recommendation for that one. It's an older game, but you know what? It's been given a beautiful facelift. Now, this next one, we loved the original game, didn't we? We all loved the original game. I think most of us did. I did. Loved the music, all of that. And that was for Octopath Traveler. And then they brought us Octopath Traveler 2. I really have enjoyed it so far. And I'm only about halfway through the game. But I love the characters. I love the stories. I love the interactions. I love the combat. I gotta say, though, I love the old school look of it. It harkens back to a different time. An older time that a lot of us can remember when RPGs used to look like this, but I'm still saying, with the 3D graphics, I think it really looks excellent, especially on the Switch. Very great stuff. If you're looking for an RPG to fill the time, you can't go wrong. So many different characters to play with, and then they all interact together. Check that one out, Octopath Traveler. A bit of a, do you know what? That's going to be one of those ones that's going to become a bit of a cult classic in time. Now, this next one, I'm recommending because it finally came to consoles this year, and PC players have been playing it for a while and loving it, and I've always been going, oh my god, I really hope it returns to consoles, because I originally played it on consoles. And that is the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. Another game, and I'm not being cheesy here, I'm really not trying to be, gave me a smile on my face. And this is my youth. These Final Fantasy games are my youth, and your youth out there as well. But for me, it's such a personal thing that I played the very first Final Fantasy when it came out. And so to go back and play these kind of remasters of the original, beautiful looking stuff. And they've really honored the original games. You got arranged music in there and the original music. I stick with the original music and all that. But I went in and finished Final Fantasy 1, and then I'm working on Final Fantasy 5 because there's so much coming out this year. And I'm just like, Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters came out in between all these big games, and I got Final Fantasy 1 done in there, so definitely going back to that. It's a true treasure, and I'm still waiting for my physical copy from Play Asia to show up. Okay, this game just came out, and I've got to talk about it once again. This is a game of the year. This is one of the games of the year, and that is Street Fighter 6. I gotta admit, Street Fighter 5 deflated me so much that I really thought I was done with Street Fighter. I lost my love of it, and I've been there since the original game. We pound on the pads in the arcade, and then obviously Street Fighter 2, which was a renaissance, and it was my religion. Street Fighter 2 was my religion going up, and I've loved all the games. But when I got to 5, I don't know what happened. It was just that kind of launch really deflated me. And Street Fighter 6 has made me excited about Street Fighter again. Like, I'm walking around and I'm like, I want to go play Street Fighter. And I haven't felt that for a while, and it feels really good. I love the new characters. I love the one-player mode. And I'm finding myself practicing. Now, I'm never going to compete on, with a lot of people online in a real masterful way. I'm just playing for fun nowadays. But I find myself practicing combos and using the new meters and all of that stuff. I'm like, wow, I'm really kind of the drive stuff, drive impact. I'm like, oh my god, I'm really practicing this and defending and you trying to find the times to use it and the times not to. I'm watching tutorials on YouTube because the game is that good. High recommendation. There's so many different modes to play with, which we didn't get in Street Fighter 5 to begin with. And that's what feels great. You're going in, there's an experience there for you. Really enjoyed it. Really having fun with the one-player mode, which is basically an RPG in a final fight 3D world. Need I say more? Okay, this next game is a big one. It came out, I finished it, and I was sad it was over. When the credits rolled, I was like, no. And that's for Resident Evil 4 Remake. I played the original game, and I gotta say, this remake is so good that it felt like a completely different game for me that I was playing. And I only played the original game back when it came out on GameCube for Resident Evil 4. And so playing Resident Evil 4 Remake this way is like, oh my god, it's like a whole new experience. And it was funny, I'll just tell the story quickly. My mom was visiting for a week, and I said, do you want to go out for the day? She said, oh, I just want to sit on the couch and all that. I said, okay, well, do you mind if I play games? She said, oh, yeah, play, because my mom has always watched me play video games when I was younger and all of that. So it's kind of nostalgic to have my mom there. It was so funny. I'm playing it, and Kim is in the other room, and me and my mom, there's like a jump scare moment, and we both go, ah! And we both sound exactly the same, and Kim's like laughing in the other room because she hears me and my mom, I know this sounds funny, we had a great time. My mom's 75 years old playing Resident Evil 4 Remake. She wasn't playing it, she was just on the couch, and she said, oh, watch out for that, look out for that. We had a great time with the game. So that's my story about Resident Evil 4 Remake. Did you guys enjoy that? I was blown away by it. Real game of the year as well for me. Okay, I know a lot of people haven't had a chance to play this. I played a lot of it on Game Pass. That's where I was initially into it, and that is for Hi-Fi Rush. Yes, it's a platforming game. It's kind of got a cel-shaded look to it. Beautiful 3D world. Do you know why I liked it so much? The reason why I liked it so much, it gave me that feeling of a Dreamcast game. It really did, like Jet Set Radio. It gave me that feeling, and I think that's why I enjoyed it. It felt like I was going back in the year 1999, 2000. I'm playing my Dreamcast again, playing that game. So if you do have Game Pass, it's on there. Check it out. High recommendation. I think it's one of those games that's really going to go under the radar for a lot of people, but it's a really fun one that I highly recommend. Okay, my wife is playing this game, so I personally haven't played it because she's been dying to play it. She played the original Diablo with me, and she loved it. She's like, I gotta play Diablo 4. I'm like, okay, we'll get it. And I've been watching her play it in the other room, and we're gonna talk about it in detail in a bit, but I gotta say, it's beautiful. It's a really good looking game. Yes, it's the same mashing over and over and over again, but it's such a beautiful game. That's the argument that will be said about the game. And addicting, I mean, Kim is really enjoying the game so much, so she's gonna come in and the games are playing and talk about it in the future. But Diablo, from her point of view, is up there as a game of the year. She really, really loves it. Okay, I'm gonna throw this one in and you're gonna go, really? Really? It's up there for me, and that is Advance Wars Reboot. I mean, it finally came out after so many years of saying, no, we're not bringing it out. It finally came out, and a game that really, genuinely, and again, not sounding cheesy, really made me happy to see. And that is, like, I just love the strategy of it. I love the cartoony graphics of it. It's really a comfort zone feeling for me, especially harkening back to the Game Boy Advance, where I originally played the game, and I bought a Game Boy Advance to play that game originally. So this is kind of like harkening back to that time. So it's a lot of nostalgia in there for me. I'm gonna definitely say that, but it's a really nice update to the game, and it's just great to play on, a big screen TV now, and you can also play it in handheld mode. So it's working on both counts there. Really like an Advance Wars, and I really want to go back to it and spend a lot more time with it, but I'm always thinking about that game. Now, the best is for last, and it is the best of the year so far. And look at everything I've talked about. So many great game experiences. But for me, personally, only for me personally I can speak of, it is a game unlike any of those games. It is a game that is so massive in scope, in so many different ways. It's so unexpectedly incredible. And that is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's like one of those ones about, I'm not worthy. I originally started in the game, I've said it before, I was very frustrated, I was very lost, I didn't exactly know my way through the game, and then I figured it out, and then I powered through the game. And it's one of those things, I was so involved in the game that I'm still processing it now that it's finished. I'm still processing it, and I'm going to say outlandish things, I will say in the future. I honestly, there's moments of me here that are thinking it's one of the best video games ever made by human beings. I really think it is. I cannot believe how good it is. And yes, they mix the thing of exploration and adventure with dungeons and puzzles and technique and creativity in a way that I've never seen done in a game before. And it's always amazing that Nintendo did this. And it's not a game by Bethesda, Nintendo did an open world game with Breath of the Wild. They pulled that one off with flying colors. And this one, they brought it back again, but they've added so many layers to it. So many layers that I'm still processing it. I still am. And what a remarkable achievement in game design. And I don't know where you go from here, folks. I don't know where you go from here on a console with a game like this. I don't know in the future where you go, because this game had everything. And I gotta say, the game pushed me to my limits as a player like no game I have ever played has. In a great way, in challenge, in wonder, in frustration at times. It had everything that I could have ever wanted in a game. When I started playing games, especially, RPG adventure style games, like the original Legend of Zelda, I could have never imagined that we would go this direction and we would end up getting this game. It's a remarkable achievement, and it's on the Nintendo Switch. How did they pull it off? Yes, it's got some frame rate issues. Yes, it's got some pop-up and all that. but the power of the gameplay is so unbelievable, you kind of just let it go. It really is one of those things. It's really one of those things, and I've never played a game like it, and I really hope I get a chance to play a game like it again. I'm still not done with the game. I'm still exploring, and I'm finding things in this game that I'm like, it took them 5-6 years to make this? I can't believe it. It feels like it should have taken 10 plus years. In a way, it's true, because they did have the original Breath of the Wild that are just built on it, but there's so much in it. And it's crazy when you're playing it, how it's not just crashing all over the place. And yeah, I know there's been bugs in the game that are being patched and things like that, but a remarkable achievement in game design. That's it. I'm done, because I could talk about Tears of the Kingdom for at least 50 hours. I've said 4 hours before, but it's got to be 50. I mean, there's so much to unpack with the game. There's so many secrets to discover. What a opening of the year, right? What an opening of the year. What I just discussed. Isn't that ridiculous? Those amount of games. And that's not all the games. You're going to tell me all the games that I haven't played that you think deserve to be in the best of 2023. Let me know down below, because it's been a heck of a year. We have another half a year to go. Impossible. Unbelievable. So anyways, guys, until next time.